Brutally attacked in prison, new witness testimony, ring camera footage that could exonerate him. What's really going on in the Tory Lanez Megan Thee Stallion saga? Welcome back to What's the Word, where we expose the untold layers buried beneath the headlines. Let's unpack this. Days after Tory's team reached out to Megan and Kelsey about fresh testimony, Tory was allegedly set upon in a jail cell, attacked by a man serving a life sentence. His lawyers say this wasn't random violence, but a hit job to keep him silent before devastating new evidence dropped. Is prison justice really that cutthroat? Or is someone afraid his story will change everything?
Rapper Tory Lanez was stabbed 14 times in a California prison and rushed to a hospital. Officials say that attack happened Monday morning at California's State Correctional Institution. Lanez is currently serving 10 years for shooting Megan Thee Stallion in 2020. His lungs collapsed after that attack, but his team says he's now breathing on his own and he's in good spirits. The motive for this attack is unclear. An investigation is now underway. Lanez's team thanked fans for their prayers and support.
Next, Tory's camp announced never before seen ring camera footage, supposedly proving he didn't fire a shot that night. They've even got a confidential bodyguard testimony claiming Kelsey pulled the trigger. But here's the kicker. This footage and that bodyguard scoop mirror what Sean Kelly, an eyewitness at trial, already said, that someone else went off first, and that Tory's moves afterward could have been defensive. So is this new evidence or just recycled talking points dressed up for press coverage? Of course, Megan's representatives blasted the defense's claims as misleading rumors. They insist the jury saw every bite of camera footage in 2022 and that ballistics, DNA, and direct testimony still point to Tory. They've branded Tory's narrative a re-traumatizing cash grab, labeling anyone who repeats it a foolish bully. But when headlines drive clicks and streams of his prison album Peterson, is that really a fair fight? Let's talk holes in the story. 1. Bullet fragments vanished. LAPD reportedly lost hospital fragments, so no physical proof was presented at trial. 2. Gun never produced. Only pictures of the alleged weapon ever surfaced in court. 3. DNA inconclusive. Reports say Tory's prints were barely there, 0.1%, a level found on billions of people. Add to that Megan's shifting accounts, first glass shards, then gunfire, and you've got a narrative that keeps changing.
I never put my hands on anybody. I never raised my voice too loud. Like, this was one of them times where it was like, it shouldn't have got this crazy.
It shouldn't have escalated to the way that it did.
So I get out the car and it's like everything happens so fast. And all I hear is this man screaming, he said, "Dance, bitch." And he started shooting. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like, he shot a couple of times. And I was so scared.
So is he in the car shooting from the car, Megan?
He is standing up over the window, shooting. I didn't even want to move. I didn't want to move too quick, like, cause I'm like, oh my God, if I take the wrong step, I don't know if he can shoot something that's like super important. I don't know if he could shoot me and kill me. Like,
were you afraid for your life at that time?
I was really scared because I had never been shot at before.
Now enter Congresswoman Ana Paulina Luna, publicly lobbying for a pardon or commutation. She frames this as a crusade against a corrupt system, promising to take it all the way to the White House. But why is a federal politician suddenly championing this case? And why does Rock Nation insist it's all a woke ploy to re-traumatize Megan? When politics meets pop culture, the real victims can be the truth itself.
I mean, this isn't your jurisdiction. I don't know you to have any connection to any of these people.
Yeah, so as you know, we are on oversight and accountability. And so this case was actually initially flagged for me by Amber Rose. And the reason why I took a particular interest in it is because of the fact that they actually had evidence that they presented to me in my office that actually disproved the conviction. So as you stated earlier, that 0.01% of DNA, they actually found 4 people's DNA on that firearm, none of which was Tory's. Not to mention there was 0 fingerprints on the actual magazine. And also too, as you said, 0.01% chance. I mean, that evidence in itself should pretty much speak for itself. Also, there's been ring footage that's been obtained that actually disproves the whole dance, Megan. And so what we're seeing is really there was a case of he said, she said. The evidence wasn't actually respected and properly adhered to actually in the trial. And then they also were doing something that I would find pretty wild and egregious. They're actually submitting his lyrics for rap as evidence to the crime. So look, first and foremost, you have to have a free and fair society. That means we need to respect and uphold the justice system. So I actually reached out today to Gavin Newsom's office, and we are requesting an emergency meeting. We're also working with other Democrats, specifically to the California delegation. But I think that this is something that's pretty egregious, that the way that this was handled, the way that it was. I think that it was largely driven by headlines. And aside from the people involved and the parties involved, obviously I take domestic violence, I take this very seriously, Chris, but I also take very seriously the fact that I do believe, based on the evidence that I've seen, that Tory's innocent. And I think that it sets a really bad message when you have someone of his stature, and also to someone that is as influential as he is, that's being wrongfully incarcerated. And that's exactly why we wanted to use our megaphone for a good reason and help get him his pardon, which I think he'll get.
We don't claim to know exactly who pulled that trigger, but here's what we see. Attack in prison, an alarming escalation, either a targeted silencing or shocking payback. New evidence, nothing truly new, just repackaged trial material. Shifting stories, bullet fragments, gun photos, eyewitness recollections, all tangled in conflicting narratives. Political theater, a high-stakes pardon campaign risking the integrity of the justice process. At minimum, Tory deserves a transparent, no-holds-barred retrial. Every piece of evidence, raw footage, ballistics, eyewitness statements, should be laid bare before a jury and the public. Only then can we move past the headlines and find the truth.
So Luna, who did it? I mean, she says and her friends say that he did it. And who else would have done it? And what proof do you have to support that? I get it. Maybe they didn't make the case the right way with the weapon, but who did it?
You know, Chris, that's not for me to weigh in, and that's definitely for the judge and the jury. But what I will tell you is, based on the evidence that we have, says that he wasn't the guy. And so I do think that Gavin Newsom has some great attorneys that will look at this. But I'd also like to point out that the prosecutor specifically on this case that initially brought the charges is a very interesting prosecutor. Look into who ran him. And at the end of the day, you know, I think Hollywood, as you know, Chris, in politics does overlap, and there's a lot of interesting stuff that happened there. So look at the evidence for yourself. We've posted it for the entire world to see, to determine for themselves. And I know that Tory's legal team actually has an incredible case. And so we are calling on Gavin Newsom to issue that pardon immediately. And also remember, he was almost killed in jail. I actually talked to him today on the phone, and he said that once he does get out, once he does get this pardon, which I do feel confident that he'll be getting, he's going to work extensively in prison reform, because this should never happen to anyone.
That's what's going on in the Tory Lanez case right now. A melee of legal drama, political brinkmanship, and media spin. If you want more deep dives on the stories shaking up culture and power, hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Drop your take in the comments. Do you believe Tory's new evidence, and should his conviction be revisited? Follow us for raw updates, and I'll see you next time when we cut through the noise and bring you the unfiltered truth.